I stared at my phone screen, the blue glow cutting through the dim light of my small apartment in Missoula, Montana. Mom's text hit like a gut punch. Family meeting Sunday, 4 p.m. sharp. Be there. My thumb hovered over the reply button, but what was there to type? This wasn't an invite, it was a setup. Outside, the wind howled across the Bitterroot Valley, rattling the windows like it was trying to warn me. 3 weeks since Grandpa Harlan's funeral, and already the sharks were circling his legacy. The funeral replayed in my mind like a bad dream. The scent of fresh-cut hay from the ranch mixed with the polished wood of the casket. Mom in her tailored black pantsuit, dabbing at her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief, putting on a show for the neighbors. My brother Wyatt stood beside her, fidgeting with his belt buckle, avoiding everyone's gaze. Neither of them had bothered to visit Grandpa in his last month at the ranch house. But I had every damn day, bringing him his favorite black coffee and listening to his stories about building Weston Ranch supplies from a single barn into a regional powerhouse. I closed my eyes, picturing the attorney's office in downtown Missoula. All leather chairs and brass lamps. Mr. Caldwell, Grandpa's lawyer for over 3 decades, cleared his throat and adjusted his bifocals before reading the will. Mom and Wyatt sat across from me, leaning in like they owned the place. To my granddaughter, Harper Louise Weston, he'd intoned, I bequeath controlling interest in Weston Ranch Supplies, the family ranch at 1423 Prairie Road, and liquid assets totaling $3.8 million. The room went dead silent for what felt like an eternity, maybe 3 heartbeats. But I counted them. This has to be a mistake, Mom snapped, her hand slapping the desk so hard the pens jumped. Her face twisted like she'd bitten into a lemon. Mr. Caldwell didn't blink. No mistake. Mrs. Weston. Harlan was sharp as a tack when he signed this. I kept my poker face, hands clasped in my lap, while Mom unleashed a barrage of protests, undue influence, mental decline, the works. Wyatt stayed mute, staring at his boots, his jaw clenched tight. When it was over, we filed out to the parking lot in tense silence. Before I could unlock my truck, Mom grabbed my arm, nails digging in. This isn't done. Harper, she hissed, her breath hot on my cheek. Not even close. I yanked free without a word and drove off, only letting my hands shake once I was alone on the highway. Gripping the wheel, I breathed deep, the Montana sky stretching wide and indifferent above me. Now. 3 weeks later, that text sat there like a loaded gun. Mom had called 17 times since. I'd picked up twice, each ending in her fake tears and demands to make this right. My phone buzzed again, not her, but my buddy Jake. You good? Need backup. He knew the score, had offered to tag along to the meeting. But this was my rodeo. I'm fine, I texted back. Just strategizing. He replied quick, that lawyer's number is in your phone, Riley Thompson. Call if it gets hairy. I cracked a small smile. I'd already consulted Riley twice. The will was airtight. No lupotes. Sunday loomed like a storm on the horizon. 2 days to gear up for whatever Mom had cooking. I headed to my bedroom, grabbing my duffel bag. If I was facing this, I'd do it prepared. The drive from Missoula to the ranch near Hamilton took about an hour through winding valleys. I'd head out early, swing by Grandpa's place, my place now, before hitting Mom's. As I packed jeans and a fresh shirt, my eye caught the silver St. Christopher medallion dangling from my rear-view mirror in the hall. Grandpa's gift when I bought my first truck. For safe travels, he'd said with a grin. Even if we're not church folks. Can't hurt. I zipped the bag and returned to the living room, the wind dying down outside. Picking up my phone, I fired off a reply to Mom. See you then. Then I sat in the quiet, mapping out my moves. Whatever ambush waited in Hamilton, I'd stand tall. Grandpa didn't pick me because I was soft. He knew I had the grit to guard what he'd built, even from kin. Sunday afternoon. Mom's house looked picture-perfect as always, manicured lawn, fresh white picket fence, like a postcard from small-town Montana. I idled in my truck for a minute, spotting the curtain flick. They knew I was here. One last check of my phone. Jake's text. Don't sign squat. Deep breath. Then I grabbed the leather briefcase Grandpa gave me after my MBA and strode up the gravel path. The door swung open before my knuckles hit wood. Harper. Honey. Punctual as ever. Mom's voice dripped with that fake cheer she saved for PTA meetings and county fairs. She wore pearl studs and a soft blue sweater, probably new from the boutique in town. The living room setup stopped me short. Furniture arranged in a semicircle around the coffee table, like a boardroom standoff. Two guys in gray suits stood as I entered. Wyatt slouched in an armchair, eyes on the floor. Coffee, Mom offered, nodding to a tray with mugs and cookies. Cut to the chase, I said, staying on my feet, briefcase tight against me. Mom's smile thinned. These are Alan Prescott and William Davenport, estate planners specializing in family assets. Prescott shook my hand, all slick charm and cufflinks. MS. Weston. We've heard great things. I'm sure, I muttered, noting his shark eyes.
Seat.
Please, Mom urged, patting the center seat like it was a trap.
Set.
Briefcase on my lap. Wyatt still wouldn't look up. Harper, Mom started, folding her hands primly. We're worried about Grandpa Harlan's judgment in those last weeks. He seemed so scattered. He was crystal clear when I saw him. I countered, voice level. Seeing someone occasionally isn't the same as knowing their daily state, she shot back.
Dr.
Ellis can vouch. He was forgetful near the end. You hadn't visited in over a month before he passed. The air thickened. I was there 3 times a week, I said. We talked business, investments, his vision. Prescott jumped in. Families get messy with grief. We're here to help navigate. We're still blood, Mom added, leaning in with that concern Mom act. Harlan might have meant well, but this setup strains everyone. Davenport nodded. Generational wealth needs balance handling for the Weston legacy. I know the legacy. I cut in. Grandpa and I hashed it out plenty. Mom sighed theatrically. You'll get it when you have kids. Family duty goes beyond legal papers. My phone vibrated, text pouring in. Pastor Jenkins checking in, she said, watching me. So that's her play, rallying the town. Church folks. Old friends. The planners have docs ready, Mom said. Davenport slid a packet over. Voluntary asset reallocation. Fair for all. I didn't touch it. Fair how? You keep 15% of the business. A trust fund, he explained like it was generous. Rest goes back to family management. Mom chimed. We've all built this. Your job at Valley Distributors? Our connections got you in. Heat rose in me. But I stayed cool. Grandpa hooked that interview. Not her. Wyatt twisted his ring. Silent as ever, divorced now. From what Aunt Karen whispered. I'll review with my lawyer, I said. Prescott smiled fake. Family stuff stays in-house. Right? I respect family, I replied. And Grandpa's intent. His intent was muddled, Mom snapped. Then softened. I locked eyes with Wyatt, a spark there. Maybe alliance. Gotta run, I stood. Early work tomorrow. Mom rose.
Brittle.
Think it over. Harper. Folks are buzzing. This looks bad on us all. I nodded vaguely and left. Their stares burning holes in my back. In the truck. 6 voicemails, church ladies, cousins, even my old rodeo coach. Mom's network in action. Driving back through the valleys. Wind picking up. I white-knuckled the wheel. The medallion swung gently. Keep me steady, I murmured. Hours later, a knock jolted me. Through the peephole, Wyatt, soaked from the sudden rain. Let me in, he asked. Mom's talking about selling the ranch. She can't, it's mine. I stepped aside. She's rushing before you lock things down. He looked wrecked. Eyes bloodshot. There's stuff you need to know. For the first time in years. He seemed like my brother. Not her shadow. Come on in. A week had passed since that tense family meeting. And the knocks came late one stormy night. Sharp and insistent against my apartment door. My clock glowed 11:43 p.m. I shuffled over in socks, peeking out to see Wyatt, rain-drenched, looking like he'd been through a ringer. You look half-drowned, I said, swinging the door wide. He shook off his jacket with a tired grin. Sorry for the late drop-in. What blew up? I asked, tossing him a towel. He dried his face, sinking onto the couch. Sarah and I split 3 months back. The words hung heavy. We hadn't talked real life in ages. 3 months? Were you crashing? Mom's guest room over the garage. He rubbed his temples. Not my proudest setup. I fired up the kettle in the kitchen. Tea or whiskey? Tea's good. His voice echoed empty. But there's more. Harper. Stuff about Mom and Grandpa. The kettle hummed as I waited. Sarah's a nurse at Hamilton Regional. We were solid till last year, when Mom told Grandpa Sarah had piled up bills, $18,000. He fronted the cash to Mom for us. Pieces clicked. But no bills existed. Right? Wyatt nodded. Sarah pulled doubles while Mom jetted to a Vegas weekend. Posted pics on Facebook. Grandpa spotted him. I leaned on the counter.
Processing.
She played you both. Us all, he corrected, voice breaking. When Sarah found out, that cracked us. She wanted me to call Mom out. I couldn't. Kettle clicked. I poured mugs, handing him one. Our eyes met. More. He nodded. I suspect it wasn't one-off. 3 days later, I slipped into the ranch house at dawn, key turning quiet in the lock. Mom wasn't around good. I beelined for Grandpa's study, the heart of the place she avoided, calling it dusty old junk. The big oak desk stood solid, topped with a lamp and our photo from my MBA ceremony. Me in cap and gown. Him beaming. Fingers tracing the wood. I remembered Sundays here. Him poring over ledgers while I learned the ropes. Bottom drawer creaked open, revealing rows of leather journals. Yearly labels crisp. I grabbed the last 3, flipping pages of Grandpa's neat script, transactions, business and personal. Patterns jumped out. January 18th, 2024. Loan to Lorraine, $6, $200 for Karen's dental crisis. A note. Karen's Facebook shows spa trip in Sedona. Same week. My pulse quickened. February 9th. Loan $4,500 for Wyatt's truck fix. Note. Called shop. No repairs logged. Page after page unveiled a web of deceit spanning years, systematic dips into Grandpa's kindness. Stomach nodding. I hit the final journal. May 12th. Loan $18,000 for Sarah's medical. May 26th. Lorraine's Vegas posts up. No bills verified. May 27th. Seeing Caldwell tomorrow. Will revisions. dated weeks before he passed. I leaned back, grief and anger mixing. All those times I doubted myself, spotting Mom's inconsistencies. As I stowed the journals, my hand brushed an envelope. For Harper. If they contest. Grandpa's writing. Trembling, I tore it open. That evening, back in Missoula, Wyatt was waiting. She used my name 6 times at least, he paced, holding the letter. Rain lashed the windows, but we ignored it. I spread ledger copies on the table. These are the ones he flagged. He scanned, face paling. I swear.
No clue.
Believe you, I said, pointing to a 3-year-old entry. Tuition for your classes? You were in Boise then. Framing houses. Yeah, he muttered. Silence settled. Heavy but shared. He reread Grandpa's letter. My dear Harper, if this finds you amid challenge. No, I expected it. Your mother confuses wanting with deserving. You have what she lacks, restraint, vision. The ranch, business, funds, they're tools for building, not burning. I kept records for truth's sake. Love always. Grandpa Harlan. He knew, Wyatt whispered. Documented it all. Dates. Proofs, ironclad. I agreed. Resolve sparked in his eyes. Now what? I dialed Riley Thompson. We prep. Mom expects me to fold at the next sit-down. You won't. Nope. We'll serve truth on a platter. His phone buzzed. Sarah. Go talk, I said. I'll scan these with Jake. At the door, he paused. Sorry I ghosted when it counted. You're here now, that counts. Alone. Surrounded by evidence. The rain eased. This stops here, I whispered. A calm certainty blooming. The next Sunday meeting, I pulled up to Mom's at 3:55. Early on purpose. Clouds hung low, but no rain yet. In my bag, the folder with Grandpa's truths. Mom answered quick.
Smile forced.
Prompt as a mailman.
Inside.
The living room screamed setup, chairs angled like an interrogation. The suits rose.
Nodding.
Coffee. Facts only.
He said.
Bag close. Prescott cleared his throat. Glad you're back, shows commitment. Commitment. I echoed. The other suit pushed papers. Fair split. 15% business for you. Trust. Rest family managed. Aligns with Harlan's real wishes. Mom leaned in. Concern faked. Harper. Harlan was off those last months. Your visits were sweet, but maybe swayed him unduly. Suits nodded. You were the golden child, she added. But family shares equal. They droned on. Confidence swelling. I waited. Silent. When they paused, expectant, I said, my turn. Opening the folder. I laid out a Facebook print. Mom in Vegas. Slots and shows. During Wyatt's surgery week. What's this? She barked. Next, Sedona Spa receipt amid Karen's dental. Then ledgers. Loans exposed. Silence choked the room. Prescott fidgeted. The door opened. Wyatt. Early. Eyes on the docks. You used my name for cash? Mom blanched. Wyatt. It's complicated. Not really, he said, standing by me. I topped with Grandpa's letter. He wasn't confused, he saw through it. The suits glanced uneasy. Mrs. Weston. You omitted details. Misunderstandings. Mom protested. Wyatt held the Vegas pick. I worked overtime while you partied. Suits gathered stuff. Maybe pause. No more meetings, I said. Will stands. Mom trembled. I'm your mother. And he was yours, I replied. The room hushed as Suits bailed. Wyatt by my side, the shift palpable. The silence after I laid out the last piece of evidence, a glossy print of Mom beaming at a Vegas buffet. Timestamped during Wyatt's supposed recovery, stretched like taffy. Sticky and endless. Her face morphed from shock to fury. The perfect mom mask shattering. You had zero right rummaging through Harlan's things, she yelled, voice echoing off the walls. Private. His desk. Left to me, I said calmly. Along with the house. Always the favorite, she spat. Venom dripping. Tailing him like a pup. He ignored my sacrifices. The suit squirmed. Prescott coughed. Let's cool heads. Did you know? Wyatt cut in. Voice low but edged. He clutched the photo. That grandpa thought this funded my bills? Mom pivoted. Harlan was controlling. I phrased it so he'd get it. I gave up dreams for you kids. That's no answer, Wyatt pressed. Tension snapped taut. The vacations I skipped. Career shelved, she deflected. Vegas looks dreamy, I said, tapping the pic. Sedona, too, during Karen's emergency. Mom's hand stopped a suit from leaving. Harper. Remember breaking your arm riding that pony? I stayed up all night in ER. Taught you Harlan's favorite apple pie recipe. Memories flickered, her hands guiding mine in the kitchen. Flour-dusted laughs. For a second, I was that kid craving her nod. You're sharper than Wyatt, she cooed. Harlan saw it, I did. Wyatt never valued you like me. Wyatt inhaled sharp. Mrs. Weston. A suit interjected. Maybe rethink. I'm not hurting you, I said. Eyes on hers. This is right. I touched each doc, signed receipts. Transfers to your account. Your posts during fake crises. The ranch. Business, my charge now. Grandpa trusted me to steward, not squander. Voice, steady. Words weighted. I honor him. Clock ticks paused in the hush. You owe us. You be zilch without family, Mom cracked. The air burned.
Wanna come?
Wyatt asked me quiet. I nodded. He took my hand, standing united. Not over, Mom hissed. Can't ditch blood. But we did. Walking out. Her with suits. Door clicked soft, no slam. Just closure. Outside. Sun warmed the porch. In the truck. Silence comforted. Shared exhale after suffocation. Engine roared. Gravel crunched as we left. Montana's sunset gilded the hills. Medallion glinting. Thanks, Wyatt said miles later. I squeezed his shoulder, no words needed. Road unspooled ahead. Past fading. Future calling. But the aftermath wasn't clean. That night, back in Missoula, my phone lit up with more messages, town gossip ignited by Mom's whispers. Heard about the wolf fight from a cousin. Praying for unity from the pastor. I ignored them, brewing tea and staring at the ledgers. Wyatt crashed on my couch, both of us raw. Over the next days, we talked, really talked for the first time since we were kids chasing cabs on the ranch. He opened up about Sarah, the lies eroding trust, his fear of confronting Mom. I was her yes man too long, he admitted. I share my doubts. The isolation of being the favorite while sensing the rot. Riley Thompson, my lawyer, reviewed everything. This is fraud territory, she said over coffee. Loans under false pretenses could be criminal, but I hesitated. Jail time? She's still Mom. Riley nodded. Civil route then, restraining order on assets. No contact if needed. But think on it. Wyatt and I debated late into nights. She stole from him, he said. But from us too, time, trust. We decided. Expose privately first. Offer a path out.
No vengeance.
Just boundaries. Human. Not harsh. Mom called relentlessly. We let it voicemail. One message. How could you humiliate me? After all I've done. Another. Tears. Please. It tugged. But the evidence anchored us. A week post-confrontation, Wyatt met Sarah for coffee. Told her everything, he reported back. She's open to trying again if I cut ties. Pride swelled. He was breaking free. I visited the ranch alone. Walking the pastures Grandpa loved. Wind whispered through grass. I felt his presence. Did right by you, I murmured. Legal wheels turned slow but sure. Riley filed to freeze any sales, citing the will's clarity and fraud docs. Mom's lawyers pushed back, claiming family misunderstandings, but judges in Montana value proof. Hearing loomed, but we offered settlement. She keeps her house, a modest pension from the business, enough to live, not lavish. No more dipping. In return, drop claims, sign NDA on the fraud. Human mercy. With teeth. As weeks blurred, Wyatt moved in temporarily. We cooked Grandpa's chili recipe. Laughed over old photos, him buck-toothed, me freckled. Bonds mended stitch by stitch. Town talk died down. Folks saw us at the diner. United. Even Aunt Karen called. Your mom spun tales. But good on you for truth. One evening, Wyatt's phone rang, Mom. He answered. Speaker on. Wyatt. Baby. Come home.
No, Mom.
We offered fair, take it. Silence. Then sobs. Lost you both. You chose that, he said soft. But doors cracked if you change.
Click. Not I.
Just sad resolve. Article of faith. People can learn. Months ticked by after the settlement papers landed on Mom's doorstep. Courtesy of Riley's firm. She signed, grudgingly, per her lawyer's note, but signed nonetheless. No court spectacle. No public shaming. We kept it quiet, Montana style. Handle your dirt private. The business hummed under my watch. I hired Wyatt as ops manager. His fresh ideas on sustainable ranching boosting profits 15%. Sarah moved back in with him. They rented a cozy cabin near Hamilton. Rebuilding slow. But echoes lingered. Holidays hit hard. First Thanksgiving without the full table. Wyatt and I hosted at the ranch, inviting extended kin minus Mom. Laughter filled the air. But her absence ghosted. Think she'll come around? Wyatt asked over pie. Maybe. Time heals. Or scars. Christmas. A card arrived. Miss you. Mom.
No apology.
But a start. I sent one back. Ranch doors open for coffee. Harper. Baby steps. One spring day. 8 months post-will. I drove to her house unannounced. Flowers bloomed along the fence. She answered in gardening gloves. Surprise widening her eyes. Harper. Got time? We sat on the porch with iced tea. No accusations, just talk. Why the lies? I asked gentle. Tears welled. Felt invisible after Dad died young. Harlan favored work. I craved more. Snowballed. Vulnerable. Human. Hurt us, I said. Know that. She nodded. Regretted daily. No full redemption. But understanding dawned. Join us for Easter? I offered. She did, awkward at first, but real. Wyatt thawed too. Sarah encouraged therapy for all. Sessions unpacked decades. Favoritism's poison. Enabling's cost. Mom attended sporadically. Progress uneven. But seeds planted. Business thrived. I started a foundation in Grandpa's name, scholarships for local kids in AG studies.
Nostrins.
Pure give back. Restraint and clarity, his letter reminded daily. A year on, I sat at the desk, sun streaming in. Quarterly reports glowed positive. Wyatt knocked. Bozeman expansion greenlit, up 20%.
Grandpa de aprueba y smila.
Dinner Thursday? Yep, Sarah's grilling. After he left, I opened the journal. Build with those who value legacy.
Outside.
A Weston truck rolled in. Wyatt waved. I joined him, stepping into our shared tomorrow. Lesson light but profound. Truth breaks chains. Forgiveness rebuilds bridges. Family's not perfect, it's chosen. Mended daily. The path wasn't straight. Mom relapsed once. Spreading whispers at church. We addressed firm. Facts stand, move on. She backed off. Therapy helping. Wyatt and Sarah announced a baby, new life healing old wounds. I dated Jake casually, his steady hand grounded me. Ranch evenings, stars blanketing the sky. I felt Grandpa's peace. No revenge's bitter aftertaste, just growth's quiet satisfaction. In the end, the will wasn't about money. It was a mirror, forcing reflection. We emerged stronger.
Kinder.
Montana's vastness taught that storms pass, land endures. So do we, if we choose. Flashback. As a kid, Mom bandaged my scraped knees after falls, baked pies for fairs. Good under the greed. Therapy revealed her dad's early death left scars, seeking control through cash. Understanding bred empathy. Not excuse. We set boundaries. Monthly lunches. Neutral ground. She volunteered at the foundation, giving back anonymously. Small wins. Wyatt's growth shone. Fatherhood loomed. He vowed better for his kid.
No shadows, he said.
Business innovated, eco-feed lines. Community partnerships. Legacy evolved. One sunset. Mom visited the ranch alone. Harlan's proud, she said, voice soft. Of you and me, for trying.
Une tentative?
But real. Article learned, forgiveness isn't forgetting, it's freeing space for better. A full year circled back, and I stood on the ranch porch at dawn. Coffee steaming as mist rose over the pastures. Weston Ranch supplies had not just survived, it flourished. Profits up. Staff loyal. Community tied. Grandpa's desk felt fully mine. His photo a gentle watch. The letter framed. Tools. Not treasures. Restraint.
Clarity.
Words that guided through tempests. Wyatt arrived early for a site check. Truck kicking dust. Numbers solid. Eco lines a hit. His grin. Unshadowed. Sarah waddled beside. Hand on belly. Baby's kicking. Thinks it's a bronc rider. Laughter lightened the air. Mom joined later for family brunch, her idea. Brought pie, she said.
Tentative smile.
No drama. Just presence. Over eggs. We talked real. Regrets. Hopes. Learned late, she admitted. Greed blinds, family binds. Wyatt nodded. We're here now. Afternoon. We walked the fields. Mom pointed to Old Barn. Your dad proposed there. Stories flowed. Healing gaps. No perfect bow, trust rebuilt brick by brick. But human, flaws acknowledged, growth embraced. Evening. Stars out. I reflected alone. The will's shock exposed deceit, but reckoning birthed renewal. Lesson gentle. Hold truth firm. Extend grace wide. Vengeance corrodes. Understanding restores. In Montana's embrace, We found that balance, family not by blood alone, but by choice to mend. As moons waxed, bonds strengthened. Mom hosted holidays. Wyatt's son arrived, named Harlan Jr. Business mentored locals. Foundation grew. I traveled some, but roots called home. Jake proposed under the same stars. Yes, felt right.
2 years on.
At a company picnic, Mom pulled me aside. Thanks for the chance.
Tears shared.
We all deserved better, including you. Embrace full. Path twisted, but led here, whole. The end was an end. Life cycled on. Storms taught resilience, sunrises, hope. Grandpa's legacy lived, not in assets, but actions. We carried it forward, wiser.
Kinder.
Annual memorial for Grandpa. Picnics at his favorite spot. Mom spoke first. He saw potential in us all. Wyatt added family tales. I closed. His gift? Teaching value beyond dollars, integrity, forgiveness. Attendees nodded. Community healed with us. Personal growth. I volunteered counseling for family disputes. Sharing anonymized story.
Deceit divide, dialogue unité.
Impact rippled. Final scene. Driving with Jake. Medallion swinging. Safe travels, I whispered. Road open. Heartful. Human story, from betrayal to bond. With law's clarity and mercy's warmth.